Hello everyone, welcome to Talk with Sana, and we are back with another episode of Embracing Neurodiversity. And today I have with me Nazhah Khawaja. She's an author and she works in early autism services. She's also a spoken word artist, which I figured out recently. And we have Dr. Nayela Ahmed. She works in listening ears and she has many diplomas to her credit. And today we are meeting for a special occasion that it was yesterday, 3rd of March, and it's World Hearing Day. Nayela is especially working in listening ears. We want to talk more about World Hearing Day and what she has to share with us today. So welcome, my ladies. I missed you so much because the session is now after 3 months, I think. Yeah, it's been 3 months. We had our last session.
Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's happening like for the first time in the new year. So happy new year.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We're a little late.
Yeah, I think the last time we had our session was November. Or I think November, and then it's more than 2 months now.
We had an extended celebration.
Yeah, we were still celebrating.
Well, I think it's great that we're meeting on a day like World Hearing Day, or just to talk about that.
Yeah, so like World Hearing Day, it's all about celebrating hearing health. And hearing health, it's it's all about, how to maintain hearing health and raising awareness about hearing loss and rehabilitation, hearing rehabilitation. So just to start with hearing loss, what is hearing loss? So hearing loss is loss of one of the sensory perceptions, which is hearing. So it's like, as the name says, it's hearing loss. But hearing loss is not limited to just loss of hearing. This is the thing which we really, really want to discuss and tell the world today, that hearing loss is not about just a loss of sensory perception of hearing, loss of the power of ear to hear. It's a loss of persona. It's the loss of connection, loss of communication, loss of cognition, education, relation, everything is involved in it. Because hearing is a mode to connect with people. So it's like our speech is connected to hearing, our communication is connected to hearing, our relationship is connected to communication. So it's all related. When we talk about like our kids, so our kids' hearing, it's not about their hearing only, but their holistic development depends on hearing. Hearing is just a foundation stone. So when they hear, then they listen. When they listen, then they talk. Then when they talk, then they enter into the world of literacy, numeracy, and academics, and then the vocational part of life comes. So hearing is the building block. It's the foundation stone for all the developmental milestones which we dream for our kids. So it's
that's very significant when we're thinking about kids and the development. Helen Keller said, "Blindness cuts us off from things, but deafness cuts us off from people." And I think that really kind of brings in that social aspect that you were talking about or referring to. It's not just right here. It's everything else in relation to the hearing. And I think that this can be significant for children as they're developing, and they don't have those social kind of situations, or they can't grow in their social world because of something like this. And Nayela, if you don't mind, if you could talk with us. I know that you have had a personal experience with a child with the hearing loss. And if you could talk to us about the social impact that's had for your child, and also what that's helped, how it's helped you, kind of what are the things that kind of facilitated you to be able to help your child with that?
Yeah, I would really love to share. I mean, I think if I share, it will be helpful for many others who are listening. So it's like, so my son, he got, because, and the important point to mention is that we are not having universal newborn hearing screening in India as a mandate. And I was one of the victims of this not being done over here. So newborn hearing screening, it's not a mandate. It's being carried on in many of the hospitals, but it's not a mandate yet. So many of the hospitals are not carrying it also. So my son got diagnosed when he was around 19 months of age with profound hearing loss. And before that, I mean, when we think of the days back then, it's like we were living in a fool's paradise. I never thought, anyone in the family never thought that he's having anything like hearing loss kind of a thing. He's not listening to us. He was always a very smart child. He imitated all the rhymes. He said those first words and those monosyllabic words. And he was always ever responsive and active child. How could we ever, I mean, even we never got that thing that he's not listening to us, he's not hearing, or he's having anything kind of a hearing loss kind of a thing only. And then around when he was 18, 19 months of age, then he was diagnosed. But then, when he was born, I went to the pediatrician and I asked him particularly that I want a hearing test to be done. And he was like, he had a birth cry. So there's no point conducting a test. And I was reassured. Yeah, because I heard the birth cry loud and clear. And I was like, yeah. So this is one of the myths. And this is one of the things which every mother should ask, every parent should ask, and every pediatrician should say that presence of birth cry doesn't rule out the absence of hearing loss. So I really want to say it loud and clear that there are multiple reasons which could lead to hearing loss, even in the presence of a birth cry. Birth cry is just one of the reasons that when it's absent, it means that there is hypoxia, like less oxygen in the lungs. So the birth cry is not present, and hypoxia could lead to hearing loss also. So it is one of the reasons, but it's only one of the reasons. So don't get taken away by the presence of birth cry, and do go for hearing test, universal newborn hearing screening test. I mean, it's my humble request to each and every new parent. And once we had at our center, once we were having the CME kind of a thing, meeting of the pediatricians and doctors and ENT specialists and all that, then one of the doctors said, we just don't want to, the parents are so very joyous. And we don't want them to feel any kind of anxiety, or we don't want any sadness in their life. I mean, this is not the right thing. You are not the person to decide for their happiness, joys, or sadness. If there is an ailment, if there is a condition, it's your responsibility to convey it to the parents, right?
Yeah, most definitely. That's a very scary thought. Those are very scary words, just like pediatricians and doctors in these places of authority are saying they would rather hold back information, because they think they're helping the family in the moment, but if in the long run, it's not going to be helpful for the child and their development. So those are pretty scary words.
Yeah, that's the very important thing. The term that places coming from places of authority, and that's the thing that where parents get reassured that if they are saying, then it's bound to be happening, right? So then he got diagnosed. Then also it was like, I was not getting very, very satisfying answers. Then also, even if it was diagnosed, doctors and pediatricians, they were quite I would say optimistic that he's having just conductive hearing loss. So there are, many types of hearing loss, but there are many degrees of hearing loss, from mild to moderate to severe to profound. So there are many degrees of hearing loss. Degree is how much loud we can hear. So mild is like little loudness could be heard. So it just goes to profound. Profound means only the very, very loud environmental sounds could be heard through our ears. So mild to profound. And then there are different types of hearing loss. So it's like conductive hearing loss, sensory hearing loss, and sensory neural hearing loss, and mixed hearing loss. So conductive means, where we have generally kids are having otitis media and those fluids in the ear, in the layman language, if I would say that when they are fluid in the ear and things, and then it leads to conductive hearing loss. And sensory neural means when the nerve is involved, when the system inside the inner ear is involved, and then it's called a sensory neural hearing loss. And mixed is a mix of sensory neural and conductive hearing loss. But even if any type of hearing loss is present, I would highly, highly recommend and advise each and every parent and professional also that any type of hearing loss is significant in the bigger picture of life. So please don't delay the treatment or tests the tests, intervention, these should not be, we should not be just get satisfied. Okay, it's just unilateral or it's just conductive. I mean, it's going to impact child's not only listening skills, but language, literacy, and ultimately the self-esteem and the overall personality of the child. And it's going to affect the ultimate adult personality which the child is going to be. Because when the child is affected, then the adulthood is also influenced. So we need to address each and every type, each and every kind, and each and every variety of hearing loss, be it in any form. So then it was that, okay, but then he was diagnosed with sensory neural profound hearing loss, bilateral, both the sides. And then again, the journey of finding a good intervention center began. Then it was also a real tough journey because people again were, I won't say they were professionals, but then I just want to mention, they were not that empathetic for sure. And they have their own agendas. So then that was something which really triggered me to get into this profession. So then I switched from dentistry to hearing habilitation. And then it was from then only I'm associated with listening ears. Earlier I was associated as a parent ambassador, and now as a professional also. So then
great that they have you. You're definitely an asset to listening ears. Coming from a parent who can understand and be empathetic is very important, because you're making those decisions as being part of the company or part of the board, part of the decision-making process. It's coming from a place of understanding, but also professionalism, expertise, and just that heart for these children who need that assistance. And you're absolutely right. Seeking the right pediatrician or the doctor, seeking the right specialist, seeking the right help, that's all very important. But how do you think parents should go about educating themselves enough to be able to assist the child at home? Because the home is the first place of learning. And, a child can go to speech once or twice a week for an hour. They can get 30 minutes of speech therapy or any type of therapy, not just a speech, but, they can have that help in the schools and in the centers. But sometimes I feel that parents kind of take a back seat when it comes to facilitating those therapies or following through with the exercises at home. So I would like to kind of stress this point that yes, they can go to these therapy centers, and it's very important to choose a good one, and especially a specialist that you can kind of understand. They understand you, and they know your family dynamic, and you can feel that they are wanting to genuinely help, and it's not just, okay, 30 minutes are over, goodbye, but also just how can parents educate themselves, or where can they go for those resources to help their child at the home when they're spending more than 80% of their day or 75% of their day.
Yeah, so you mentioned a very, very important point, which we always counsel our parents that we are there for you, but you are there for your child 24/7, and language which we are making the child learn. So that language is learned by living, and the child is living at home with you, and in a very loving environment. So, and the child always learns when the child is happy and being loved. And, when we emphasize on early intervention, so early intervention is like something which starts from very infancy. So infants are infants are anyways very much bonded with their mothers, which their primary caregivers. So the learning which they're getting from them, it's very different, which any professional could impart. So what we do basically is there is a therapy module which is called auditory verbal therapy. So auditory verbal therapy is basically a parent professional partnership program. So in that, this is basically a strength-based parent coaching. So it has 10 principles, and in all these principles, they are the first statement is to guide and coach parent, So it just stands for that only, to guide and coach parent, that how we are going to together, first thing is to be on the same page. And then how we are going to, we as professionals are just assisting the parents to create that listening environment for the child at home, that conducive listening environment for the child at home, and then developing their language and speech skills. So we are, we are conducting sessions of of an hour or 45 minutes twice a week kind of a thing. And then we are guiding the parent. We are giving them like weekly assessments and things. We are providing them with resources. And there are tons of resources also, which Sana could put like later as link also. Like there is one organization, very good one, Hearing First. And it has like very, very helpful resources on hearing rehabilitation of for parents who are choosing like listening and spoken language. So even if there is hearing loss also, then we have to see what are the communication methods available, and then it depends on the condition of the child. I won't say that every child could go for a spoken language mode only as communication, because there are different conditions in hearing loss. Also there are different conditions. Some kids may not go for spoken language because of other comorbidities present, or any limitations may be there. So then there are different types of communication mode also. It's not important that the child has to go for spoken language only, even if there are limitations, be it physical, be it financial, be anything. So if the child is not able to go for spoken language also, then also there are other methods. But we as professionals have duty. This is our first and foremost duty to be an informed professional, so that we can give right guidance to the parents, because they are relying on us. So I won't say like what I did was like I read all the books which is available, I guess, in the universe on hearing impairment. I connected to most of the professionals which are the global leaders in the field, and I won't recommend this to every parent, and I won't expect that every parent is going to do that. They have their own limitations, they have their own work, their time and energy. It's committed to multiple things. Yeah, I could do that because it was just bound to happen, so it just happened, and I won't recommend that. So for that, then they have to come to right places, meet right people. But there are resources which we'll definitely provide in the link also, so that people can go through and see. But whatever the resources are there, whatever professionals are saying, whatever they are doing, it's all one side. And what you believe in yourself, what you believe in your child, that all balances out. So if you are the first and foremost teacher, if someone says that mother is the first and foremost teacher, then it really works like that. Mother is actually the first and foremost teacher, though I won't say only mother. So mother and father, they will both have to contribute, and even the extended family should contribute. So the caregivers, the family, friends, they all have a very significant role in this, and especially when it comes to their language development. So languages, again, it's learned by living, and it's all around. It's in home, outside home, in the park, in the market, and in parties, everywhere there is language.
Thank
so
you.
when it comes to hearing loss,
those are very good points for parents. Tap into the resources, ask the professionals for that help, engage in the parent trainings and these different sessions, and have it be that like holistic, like you said, a holistic approach to the treatment plan for the child or the adult. Sometimes it's not just the child, it's the adult.
Thank you, Nayela. It was really, really informative that, I was taking all the information and processing it, that as a parent, we need to be very informed that, okay, you don't only have to rely on what the doctors say, you don't have to blindly trust. That's the one point I figure out that from your case, that, you were very aware and that sixth sense of the mother was present, but then everyone was validating against what you're feeling, and then, you take a step back. But like for a mother, I think go with your sixth sense. If you feel there's something wrong, there's no harm in getting checked, right? There's no harm. What is the loss in getting checked?
Yeah, exactly.
And then
that one step is so very important.
Yeah, and as a doctor, I think we don't have to generalize or take it too easy, or as a caregiver as well. You might have seen 1,000 cases, but I would say that every child is different.
Yeah, I would say
everyone with a fresh pair of eyes, not in a general way. So, and that happens, right? It's not like there was less care or the intention was bad. And most of the thing that happens in the world, the intention is not bad. It's just that the awareness and the proper the procedure or the things that could have been followed were not done. the intention was always a good intention. And yeah, I mean, it's a very information. I liked it and on very informative.
Yeah,
So
for the doctors, like I would just say, don't dismiss parental concerns.
yeah.
I mean, don't just dismiss it outrightly. Just dismissing
Yeah, I
it.
would say, like, for parents, that don't dismiss your sixth sense or your gut feeling. And as doctors, please don't dismiss the parents, concerns if they're coming to you and asking you to check. And also, like, I feel for adults, I've seen in my family or outside in the, like the people I met, where there was a hearing loss in adults. So how lonely or disconnected they felt. I also saw, like, not depression, because they were not clinically depressed, but yeah, I feel like they're sad or disconnected. They don't want to talk to people themselves, rather than, trying or making an effort, because they feel like, that other one has to shout or loud, or the hearing aids that they're using, or in the past that they use, were not that great. That's too much noise coming in, and which gives them headache, and they don't want to use it. So I really felt bad, for the people who were getting cut off from the society. It becomes like a loop that, okay, they don't want to use a hearing aid. And since they're not hearing, they're not getting connected. And, it's like, and I really felt bad that what can we do to include them, as adults or as a society?
I think we definitely need to first show more respect.
Yeah.
So not just, marking these people off as like they're just understanding that they're individuals, they have lives, they have interests, they have hobbies. There's a family that we know, and their mother, she has the hearing loss. It's very loving to see. Whenever they need to speak to her, they come very close to her and they talk right into her ear. There's no shouting. And I know when there was a screening going on and there was a professional in the home, and when they saw that, they were taken aback, and they were just very touched by the way that they interacted. And she said these words that usually when I go into the homes of the hearing loss, with individuals with hearing loss, there's always shouting, like someone's across the room and they're like, yeah, and she was so touched by the way that the family members came to their mother and just spoke directly into their ear. And I think that's just shows the respect for the individual, and like, don't shout at people, don't shout at people, as silly as it does.
That's a gentle gesture, yeah. And such,
exactly.
I really like that idea. And I've seen that also, like in some of the families, it was like this, that they were really going close. But I also feel there's a shaming culture, that we are a society which makes fun of people's disabilities, disadvantages, sicknesses. And it's so hard to get rid at the, root level of that thing. So like, however, I would say comedians or stand-up artists or, those kind of laughter challenges, they're making fun of people there with hearing loss. If you see different kind of characters, and then you grew up with that idea, and then that person is so much, I would say, like, conscious that they're not able to, hear. They will make fun of me. I will avoid public gatherings. I will just stay at home. I think we have to stop that. That kind of,
Yeah, then comes the family support, because they are living in a family, the home in the family. When they, like, if the primary people, they are the advocates, then it gives a confidence to that person also, that, okay, they are people who are with me, who are with my loss together in this with me. So then the person who is affected, he's also having that confidence to be their own advocate. And then, it's like a ripple effect kind of a thing. But then it's about, the family, the home. It all begins from home only.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be a safe environment first at home. And then, that individual learning and awareness is important, to respect and give them that kind of connection. So I really feel like I remember the movies that we watched as child, and there were these characters that you had to shout at them and they were saying things to them, I mean, you were making humor on somebody's conditions, and when I look back, I cannot watch those movies, I'm like, what what we do to people, and how insensitive we were as a society. I mean, we are progressing. I'm happy with all the awareness which is coming, but a lot of work needs to be done at the, root level. So thank you so much.
Really came
Thank
up
you
with
for coming in.
No, I mean, yes, Sana, you really came up with a very, very, I mean, very good topic and point about, communicating about the movie thing. That, yeah, I mean, it has really played such, it had played significant on our minds. And like, especially people who are not affected with this, then how will they develop? They have seen it as comedy scenes only. So if they're behaving like that, it's their learned behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a really great point.
So empathy and sympathy and these things, yeah, I mean, these things need to be, I mean, more of sensitization is needed for sure. And it's needed everywhere.
Yeah. And do share me the link, so I will put in the video as well. And I will sign off that it was really great talking to you again after long. And I hope we will come back sooner this time.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully.
Very lovely seeing you, ladies.
Yeah,
It's
take
always a
care.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.